Hi everyone, welcome to the weekly ETF report. This week we're going over which ETFs are doubling the market averages. Yeah, we're not just talking about beating the market averages, we're talking about doubling them. And first of all, let's look at a chart of the technology. And we could see that over the past couple of months, the technology really hasn't done much at all. It's just kind of topping out in here. Meanwhile, down here, our intermediate term indicator is slowly dropping. But pretty soon that gets into an oversold condition, which is below this line. And then maybe this market will start moving. Meanwhile, let's look at the stocks, our top stocks, because we go into every ETF and every index, and we pick the top stocks according to the clean surplus methodology, and our top stocks just about always outperform the ETF itself and the S&P 500 index, which 96% of professional money managers cannot outperform over any 10-year period. And that's the beauty of this, folks. So the technology index or the technology ETF as of year to date, which is the first 3 months and 5 days of this year, up 7.5%, but our top 6 stocks up 14.2%. That's double the XLK, which is the technology ETF. Now let's go to the semiconductors. The semiconductors, whoa, they haven't done anything in the past 4 months, have they? Yeah, they reached the top over here and then just up and down. And you can see the intermediate term indicator is weakening as we go along. So these stocks are taking a rest, definitely. But let's look at our top stocks. So the ETF itself is up just 1.3% for the year, underperforming the S&P 500, which is highly unusual. Now, what about our top stocks? Up 20.7%. So our top 6 stocks out of the entire semiconductor ETF that we select are up 20.7%. Folks, that's more than doubling the S&P and outperforming the semiconductor ETF itself by about 20 times. So nice return on the stocks that we picked out in the semiconductor ETF. Now let's look at the QQQs, and remember that QQQs are the NASDAQ 100 largest stocks. And the QQQs are those 100 stocks, no financial stocks in there. And we can see that they have recently reached the top over the past month, and looks like it wants to decline. Went down, this blue line is a 50-day moving average, but we could see down here the indicator, the intermediate term indicator, is slowly drifting down. But sooner or later, it will gather strength once it gets below this line here, just like all the way back over here. You see how it went down under here, and then we had a rally that lasted, 4 months in here. So that's what we're looking for again. So these stocks are marking time, except our top stocks. Let's look at our top stocks in the QQQs. And here we go, and we look at them. Well, we have 2 portfolios that follow the QQQs. One is we call them the sector stars. So we take some from the semiconductor, some from the tech, and a host of stocks from the QQQs themselves. They are up, the QQQs are up 7.8%, but our top stocks up 15.9%, doubling the QQQs themselves. So that's a very, very nice return, folks. And don't forget, we're just talking about the first quarter plus the first 5 days of April. And that's a nice return for the first quarter of any year, folks. So let's look at the NASDAQ 100 top stocks themselves. They are up 19.4%. Again, the QQQs are up 7.8%. Our top stocks in just the QQQs up almost triple the QQQs themselves. So it's a good strategy, folks. And don't forget, we have 22 years of history of outperforming almost every year the S&P 500, and on a compounded basis outperforming by almost triple. So 3 times the S&P 500, which again, 96% of professional money managers who manage those publicly traded mutual funds cannot outperform. And when we look at the S&P 500, we can see that it's had a nice run, but it does seem to be rolling over a little bit in here. And our intermediate term indicator has finally gone from flat for the past couple of months to a down position, and we'll see what happens. I'm recording this on Friday before the market closes, so we'll see what happens. And let's look at the home builders. The home builders have done very, very well over the past couple of months, so they've been on an uptrend, and just now looks like they're starting to top out a little bit. And you can see that their intermediate term indicator, unlike all the others, has been rising until just recently. Now, let's look at the stocks that we picked from the home builders, and we have 8 of them, and they are up 19.9%. Wow, folks, doubling the S&P 500, almost doubling the home builders ETF themselves. So it just goes to show that if you pick the best stocks, the better than average stocks in any index or ETF, you're probably going to outperform that index or ETF. You just have to know how to pick the better than average stocks, and that's what we do here at Buffett and Beyond over the past 22 years. So, folks, we've had a rough week this week. The market didn't do too well this week, but our individual stocks did very, very well, up as much as 20% over the first 3 months and 5 days of this year. So, even though the market didn't have a good week this week, didn't have a good week last week, our individual stocks certainly have. So, folks, go out, enjoy yourselves, be with your loved ones this week. This is sunrise over the Atlantic Ocean. Go out, take a walk on the beach, take a walk in the park, have a Sunday dinner with your family, and folks, take it easy over the weekend, because guess what? We'll be right back here with you on Monday.